At 2:17 in the morning, a phone rang. The person who answered didn't realize that what they were hearing was not a conversation, it was a goodbye. The voice on the other side was calm, almost polite, and then it said, "I think I am going to survive this." The line stayed open, the breathing continued, and by the time help arrived, there was no one left to hang up the phone. Tonight, we are listening to calls that were made minutes, sometimes seconds before death. Not stories, not fiction. These are last phone calls before death. Before we begin, if you're drawn to real horror, unexplained cases and dark evidence the world tried to forget, subscribe to Last Evidence. We don't tell fictional stories, we document fear. Case 1. I think it wants me to leave. The first call came in at 2:13 a.m. It was routed as a routine emergency call. No screaming, no panic. The man on the line sounded apologetic. He told the dispatcher he believed someone was inside his house, not breaking in, not knocking, already inside. The dispatcher asked him to leave the house immediately. There was a pause, a long one. Then the man said something that made the dispatcher stop typing. I think it wants me to leave. His breathing was slow, controlled, too controlled. The dispatcher asked where he was hiding. Bathroom door locked in the background. Faint sounds could be heard. Footsteps, not fast, not rushed, measured like someone taking their time. The man stopped speaking. But the call didn't end. For almost 3 minutes, the line stayed open. No voices, no movement. Then suddenly, a sharp inhale, a sound like something heavy hitting tile. The dispatcher shouted his name. No response. Police arrived while the call was still active. The man was found inside the bathtub. The bathroom door was still locked from the inside. No signs of forced entry. No suspects. The case remains officially unsolved. Case 2. The 3:09 a.m. voicemail. Not all last calls go to emergency services. Some go to family. At 3:09 a.m., a voicemail was left on a brother's phone. The man who called sounded tired, not afraid, tired. He apologized for not calling sooner, said work had been stressful, said he trusted the wrong people. There was a noticeable echo in the background as if he was standing in a large empty space. Halfway through the voicemail, he laughed, quietly. Investigators say that laugh is one of the most unsettling things they've ever heard, because people don't laugh when they're scared. They laugh when they've already accepted something. Before the voicemail ended, he said, "If anything happens, check my phone." 2 days later, his body was discovered cause of death, homicide. His phone was never recovered. That voicemail exists only because it was already sent. Case 3. The 8-second call. Some calls are so short they're almost ignored. This one lasted 8 seconds. It was initially labeled a pocket dial. No words at first, just breathing. Fast, uneven. Then a whisper barely audible. "He's here." A sharp breath. Silence. Police traced the call and arrived 26 minutes later. The front door was unlocked. Lights were on. The phone lay on the floor. Screen shattered. The victim was found in the bedroom. The official report classified the call as accidental, but the detective who reviewed the audio refused to delete it. He said, "Fear has a sound, and that wasn't accidental." Case 4. Leave the porch light on. One of the most heartbreaking calls involved a teenager. Late at night, he called his mother from a friend's house. His voice sounded normal, calm. "Hey mom, can you leave the porch light on tonight?" She listened to the voicemail the next morning and smiled. Then she noticed a second message. Sent 7 minutes later, there was no greeting. No words, just breathing, and footsteps. Heavy, slow, unfamiliar. Then the call ended. Police later found the boy's body in the basement of the house. The cause of death was ruled sudden, but phone records showed something chilling. He had time to call. He had time to know. Case 5. ITS. Standing between me and the door. Another emergency call came from an apartment building. A man reported scratching sounds in his walls. Footsteps above him, even though he lived on the top floor. The dispatcher asked if someone else was inside. He replied, "No, but something is moving." She told him to leave immediately. There was a long pause. Then he said quietly, "I can't. It's standing between me and the door." The dispatcher heard a sound like fabric dragging across the floor. Then the call disconnected. Police arrived within minutes. The apartment was empty. No forced entry. No suspects. The incident was labeled a hallucination. The dispatcher resigned 2 weeks later. She said she still hears that dragging sound when everything is quiet. Case 6. The woman who never asks for help. Some callers don't scream. They don't beg. They just talk. One woman stayed on the line for nearly 12 minutes. She calmly described her surroundings, the walls, the lighting, the smell, Metallica. She said the room felt smaller. She never once asked for help. Near the end of the call, her voice softened. "Please tell my sister I wasn't scared." The line went dead. When responders arrived, the building was empty. No body was ever found. The call remains unsolved. Case 7. A call made after death. One of the strangest cases involved time itself. The man's phone dialed emergency services automatically. There was no voice, only movement. Fabric brushing against the microphone. Something being dragged. The call lasted 11 minutes. Police arrived to find the man already dead. The official time of death was listed before the call was made. No explanation was ever given. Case 8. I hear breathing. The final call in this part wasn't answered. It rang for 38 seconds. Went to voicemail. The message contained only 3 words. I hear breathing. The phone was found next to the body. The call was made after the official time of death. Phones don't lie. They don't imagine. They don't exaggerate. They simply record the moment when a human realizes they are no longer in control. These calls are not warnings. They are timestamps, moments where someone stood on the edge between living and gone and pressed call. In part 2, we'll hear the calls that never ended. Calls where the line stayed open long enough to capture the exact moment life stopped. And those recordings are the ones investigators refused to play twice. Case 9, the call that stayed open. The emergency call came in just after midnight. A man whispered that someone had broken into his house. Not violently, not loudly, quietly. He told the dispatcher he was hiding in the bathroom. The door was locked. He kept his voice low. I can hear him walking. He's not rushing. He's looking. The dispatcher asked him to stay on the line, and he did. For several minutes, nothing happened. No footsteps, no voices, just breathing. Then a sound, soft, slow footsteps approaching. The man stopped talking, but the phone stayed connected. For almost 6 minutes, the dispatcher listened. There was a sudden, sharp breath, a muffled sound of something heavy hitting the floor. Silence. Police arrived while the call was still active. The phone was found under the sink. The man was dead in the bathtub. Cause of death, homicide, no suspects. The dispatcher requested a transfer the next day. She said she could still hear the breathing even when the call ended. Case 10, the elevator CAL. And not all last calls happened during violence. Some happened during confusion. A woman called emergency services trapped in an elevator. At first, she joked, said she'd been stuck before, said she could wait. Then she mentioned something strange. She said the elevator was moving slowly down, even though it was already on the ground floor. The dispatcher told her to stay calm. Maintenance was on the way. The woman went quiet for a moment. Then she said, "The buttons are gone." The dispatcher asked her to repeat herself. "There's no panel anymore." Her breathing changed. She said the lights were flickering, then went out. She whispered, "The walls don't feel like metal anymore." A wet, dragging sound echoed through the call. Then nothing. The line stayed open for 23 minutes. Emergency crews arrived. The elevator doors opened normally. No damage, no blood, no sign of the woman. Her phone was found on the floor, still connected, still recording. Case 11, you shouldn't have called. One of the most disturbing recordings involves a second voice. A man called his wife during a home invasion. He whispered instructions, where she should hide, what she should do if the door opened. Suddenly, another voice entered the call. Mail.com, very close to the phone. You shouldn't have called. The line went dead. Police traced the call. The man was found dead in the living room. His phone was missing. The voicemail saved on his wife's phone contained the last thing recorded, breathing, not her husband's. Case 12. The COUNTDOW. And some people try to control fear. One man trapped in a building fire stayed on the line. Smoke alarms screamed in the background. He didn't scream. He counted breaths, 1, 2, 3. Each breath grew shorter, rougher. By breath 17, his counting slowed. At breath 19, it stopped. The dispatcher kept calling his name. Firefighters arrived moments later. They found him near the exit, phone still in his hand. The recording captured the exact moment his breathing stopped. Firefighters refused to listen to the playback. They said, "You don't forget the sound of someone running out of air." Case 13, the auto Diola. Teenage boy's phone dialed emergency services automatically. No voice, just movement. Fabric brushing the microphone. Something dragging. The call lasted 11 minutes. Police arrived to find the boy already dead. The official time of death was listed before the call was made. The movement heard on the recording was never explained. Case 14, can you stay with me? The quietest calls are sometimes the hardest. A woman called late at night. She didn't report danger. She didn't ask for help. She simply asked, "Can you stay with me for a minute?" The operator agreed. They talked about small things, weather, music, nothing important. Then the woman said, "I feel very tired." Her breathing slowed, then stopped. Medical staff later confirmed she passed away peacefully during the call. The operator never answered another call again. Case 15, the voicemail answered to Latia phone rang for 38 seconds. No one answered. It went to voicemail. The message was short. "I hear breathing." The phone was recovered beside the body. The call was placed after the official time of death. Investigators still don't know who or what was breathing. Case 16, the call that ended ITSLF. A call started normally enough. A man had dialed emergency services. Nothing unusual, no screaming. His voice was soft, almost casual. "Hello, I think something is behind me." The dispatcher asked him to describe what he saw. I don't know. Something's moving. I feel it. Close. The man stayed calm, his breathing steady. Too steady. The dispatcher tried to guide him. "Can you get to a safe place?" "I can't move. It's standing too close." The call went on for 10 minutes. The man gave more details. "It's like a shadow. Big, but it breathes." The dispatcher asked if he could leave the room. No reply, only quiet shuffling, closer and closer to the phone. Suddenly the call ended. No warning, no scream, nothing. When police arrived, the house was empty. Doors locked. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. The phone was still on the table, connected, recording. Audio specialists listened and confirmed. A second presence on the line, breathing heavy, unhuman. The dispatcher refused to play the file again. She said, "Even just listening once changes you." Case 17, the Predictive CALL. It started at 11:53 p.m. A young woman dialed her best friend. "I'm feeling uneasy," she said. "I think someone's following me tonight." The friend asked her where she was. "On my way home by the park, but I'm almost there." She described shadows moving along the trees, faint figures at the edge of streetlights. She said she felt eyes on her from all directions. Then, after a long pause, "If something happens to me, listen carefully. It will be over before anyone can help." Her words were prophetic. Minutes later, she was found in the bushes near her home. Cause of death, strangulation. Police said the timeline didn't match. The call predicted the crime. The suspect was never caught. Case 18, the hospital voice. A man was admitted to the hospital after fainting. He called his wife from the bedside phone. He told her, "If I don't make it, don't ask questions." The line went quiet for a moment. "I can hear someone in the hallway, not the nurses. Someone else." He described a figure approaching his room. Suddenly, his voice changed. Older, male, strange. "I shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be listening." He hung up later. He was pronounced dead. The coroner found no natural cause, no drugs, no disease. But the hospital camera footage showed shadows moving when no staff was present. Case 19, the voicemail left for no. Teenager left a voicemail for no one in particular. "If anyone finds this, I think something is in my house. It knows I'm here." He described objects moving on their own, doors closing, lights flickering. "I'm going to stay on the line. Maybe it won't hurt me if I keep talking." The voicemail ended abruptly. 2 hours later, he was found in his room, frozen, no injuries. But his phone was recording an extra 17 minutes of audio. In that time, you can hear whispers, breathing, footsteps. Police never explained what it was. Case 20, the night driver. A man called his wife while driving late at night. "I feel like someone is following me," he said. The wife tried to calm him. "Just drive home. Don't worry." He described a car with no lights that mirrored every lane change. "It knows where I am. It's waiting." 10 minutes later, the call ended with a loud thump. Police found the car abandoned. The man's body was missing. The car's engine was still running. Footprints led into the woods, but disappeared. The call itself remained intact. Police said listening again is not recommended. Some things are meant to stay unheard. One officer said, "Case to 1, the open line at midnight. A woman's call to emergency services started quietly. She whispered her location. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. I don't know if I'm safe. I can feel it breathing behind me." The dispatcher tried to get her to leave. "I can't move. Please, don't leave me." Then she laughed softly, not hysterically, just a quiet, eerie laugh. "I think it's learning me." The line stayed open for 40 minutes. When responders arrived, she was gone. The room was untouched, the phone still recording. 2 distinct breaths captured, one human, one not. Case 22, the last Prediction. A man called his friend and calmly said, "If I am not back in an hour, look at my emails, look at my phone. Everything will make sense." He described events happening in his apartment with eerie precision. "The shadow will pass by the window at 2:12. The light will flicker 3 times. The friend tried to assure him it was paranoia. At 2:12 exactly, the events happened. Shadow, light, movement. By 2:15, the man's call ended. He was found later. No suspects. No signs of struggle. The recordings remain sealed by police. Case 23, the silent witness. Silently, a teenager called her older sister late at night. She said nothing except, "Stay on the line. Don't hang up. I need you to hear everything." For 27 minutes, the sister listened, breathing, footsteps, whispering. The call abruptly ended. The next morning, the teenager was missing. Phone recovered at home. The audio contained sounds the sister had never heard. Footsteps descending stairs, a door closing, whispers repeating her name. No one has explained it. Conclusion: why these calls, these calls are not myths. They are recorded evidence. They are moments frozen in time where human beings faced the unknown. Some predicted their death. Some captured it in real time. Some remain unexplained. Phones are witnesses. They hear what the living often miss. They capture fear. They capture acceptance. They capture the unimaginable. If you want more cases like this, documented from around the world, subscribe to Last Evidence. Turn on notifications because some calls are still being made, and some voices are still waiting to be heard.